So good morning and welcome to our yin yoga class. Let's take a comfortable seat and get started. We always start with this wonderful centering in any yoga class. It helps us come into the moment. It helps us to become present. And the theme today, working around this idea of presence. Not the presence that you get in a pretty package, but the presence of awareness, what's happening right now. Our active brain loves to take us ahead, loves to stay busy, loves to plan and do. But for this moment and for this class, let's retrain the brain to come back into the present moment. So taking that breath and allowing yourself to settle in. Noticing what you hear. What you hear might be really obvious, something in your room or something outside of the space you're in. It might be what you would call loud or noisy. Can you go a little bit deeper into that awareness to hear the subtlety, the softer, the whispers? As we train ourselves to become deeply aware and present with whatever it is we're doing, we hone this skill. It becomes easier and easier to come back to this present moment. Because after all, that is all we have, is this moment. Allow the hands to come to the heart center. Maybe holding that intention or anything else that you may have for yourself today. And holding that intention and that consciousness and awareness. Allow the class to be exactly what you need. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, hands can release and eyes can flutter open. So we're going to start today seated. So you're right where you need to be. I'm going to go get myself on my mat. And if you feel like you want to have anything underneath your seat, like a blanket or a little prop, go ahead and grab that now. I've got this little beanbag that I like to sit on. It just gives me a tiny little bit of a lift and it helps me to stay spinal erect. All right, so let's put the feet together in butterfly pose. So they're not close to your body, they're further away. You're much more comfortable. And I'd like you to take your thumbs and go down into that kidney 1 point. So it's right under the ball of your foot, right between or under your second toe. There's like a little indentation there, and I want you to just press on it. Ooh, mine's tender. And so what they say, the Chinese and the Meridian practitioners say, is that when this particular channel is blocked, it can affect all other channels and all of our organs. This is kidney meridian. And so you can just press it and hold, or you can make little baby circles, or you can pulse it. And go with a little intuition. Don't worry about if you have it right or wrong. Just go with your intuition. I learned that from an acupuncturist years ago. She said, you know, we learn where the points are, but then every single person's a little bit different. And the points are not always exactly the same as in the drawings, which makes a lot of sense to me. Alrighty, and then go ahead and just soften that and release it. Remember, if you have a bolster or blocks or a blanket, you can put it in front of you. We're just going to fold forward. So take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into your forward fold. And your forward fold doesn't have to be hard or big or anything. It just has to be at that, what we call the edge of sensation. And the body will start to respond in this really subtle way. And that's part of the listening. That's part of the hearing that we were doing in the centering. We typically will notice, I'll call it a sensation, when it's real obvious, like, oh, I feel that in my back, or oh, I feel that in my knee. If you don't push too hard, that obvious sensation will subside. And you'll start to notice the quieter, the whispers of the body. The things you may not have noticed before. And they don't have to be anything that's negative, right? It could be a message or a sensation of flow, of ease. Like, wow, this feels really good to my body. I know this is really helpful to my body. Ram Dass says that the message that you need is always right where you are. And one of his famous sayings is, be here now. Most of the famous sages, masters, teachers, yogis, they all have the same message of presence, staying in the present moment, and trying not to have all of these tendencies of either hanging out in the past, I wish I could have, I should have done this, any of those kinds of things, or jumping ahead into the future. Many people say that there isn't anything we can do about the past, and we don't know what the future is, so why worry about it? And just stay with where you are. In this moment, on this day, in this room, with these people. And what's interesting about teaching online and being online in a classroom is whether you're there at the time that it's being done or you're watching a recording, we're all here together in this energetic field, and we're all here practicing together. Allowing yourself to settle in for the last 30 seconds. Honing the skill of awareness in present moment. And take a nice deep breath. And slowly walking yourself up, bringing your spine back up to center. And like support your knees as you bring your legs together. Stretch the legs all the way down. Give them a little moment here. So the next action I want you to do is take your right foot and bring it as high up towards your thigh as you can. Some people don't like that with their knees, so the leg can be a little bit lower, but if you can pull it up, it's going to give you a different action. And if you can put a block underneath your leg, especially if you have any hip stuff going on, please do. And so we're going to go to a little twisting journey towards the leg that you've got bent. Okay, so you're going to sit up nice and tall. And I just want you to rotate your body as far as it'll go without using your hands. And then when you get that stopping point, put one hand either on the floor or on your leg and the other hand behind you. And use your hands and your arms just like little supports. I don't want you to pull or create any more tension in the body, because the first initial stopping point of that twist is usually where the body says, okay, I'm comfortable here. Allowing the eyes to stay more on a horizon or neutral level. Try not to look down or up. And your head can turn with this twist, so it's not just your torso. And then soften into the shape that you're holding yourself in. And let the breath move down into the belly. And what you'll start to notice is that edge where you couldn't go any further softens, and your body will naturally start to turn a little more without you even making it or trying. And we're here in this present moment. If you've ever been in a situation where you get some kind of really profound insight, it almost always, if not always, is when you are quiet and still, and you allow that present moment to give you that magic that you may have missed had you not become still. Opening up the flow of energy so that you get these insights or these messages, if you will. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, go ahead and release out of that twist. Now you're going to keep this straight leg there. And as you turn, you're going to face the straight leg. Now start to exhale and move down. So you're covering or lowering yourself over this straight leg now. This is where blocks or props can come in handy. I like to use them on each side of my leg. And a little trick is if you have your block, you can put it where your leg is so your leg doesn't flop out to the side. And then just resting here for another 2 minutes. Breathing. Finding that edge of sensation. One of my teachers, one of my master teachers that created what's called Phoenix Rising Yoga. It's a very insightful yoga practice. He created it with like a psychology background. He's a psychologist, so he took his knowledge of psychology and blended it with yoga, and yoga is a very psychological practice because it's about the mind. But he has such a wonderful way about him, and his words are always what's happening now. Ram Dass is be here now. Michael Lee's is what's happening now. So you could ask yourself that. What's happening now? And then even in the next breath, you could say, and what's happening now? And be curious around how the body's responding, what might be going on in your mind, how the breath feels. And rather than searching for something and looking for something. You can just wait. Wait for the response. Wait for the information. Wait for the insight. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and come all the way back up. Now we're just going to switch our sides. So take a moment to bring this bent leg up and stretch it back down. We'll just pause here for a moment, letting the legs settle. And then we'll move away to the other side. So bending the other leg, as much as you can, turn that leg open. Bring that foot as high up onto your inner thigh as you can. So the first one, remember, we're going to do a twist. So sitting up nice and tall, you're just going to, without your hands, turn towards the bent leg side. And then when you can't go anymore, hand on the floor or your leg, other hand directly behind you, to kind of hold you up, if you will. Let your eyes turn and then pause. And wait. And listen. And as the body goes, oh, this is what she's doing, it'll soften into the shape, and the initial stopping point will release. And then the body will just naturally turn more because that's the direction you're moving in. It's subtle. And what's wonderful about yin, it's kind of a metaphor or a practice for what we're talking about. There's nowhere to go. There's no shape you have to be in. You don't have to strive to make anything bigger or deeper or more. This is just where we are today. Letting the breath deepen into the belly, and that sends that message to the vagus nerve that you're safe, that you're calm. And that in turn sends the signals to the body and the cells in the body that create healing. Most of us are overstimulated. We have a lot going on. But in each and every moment you can say, be here now. I'm here now. Take a nice deep breath. And then as you exhale, go ahead and release out of the twist. Facing the straight leg now. And if you're using blocks, you could prop your leg up. You don't have to do that. And then just start to let your torso move towards the straight leg. Okay, so it feels a little bit like a twist in the other direction because it kind of is. And we find a place where we can rest and be without doing. There's just this idea of being in the present moment with this shape. And just commit to yourself to staying here right now, finding your breath. And noticing the other sounds that are around you, but you stay committed to yourself in the practice and the breath. And just noticing your own tendencies. Just keep pulling yourself back. It's easy to go off into another story or narrative because that's the job of our brain, and we are awake. And so the brain is like, well, what's happening? Where are we going? What are we doing? What already happened? How can I process what already happened? Brain's like a little computer. Always searching for information, and that's good. It's its job. But just like a crazy toddler running around the room with wild abandon, we need to help create a little bit more boundary, if you will, a little bit more centeredness. Take a nice deep breath. And then as you inhale, start to bring yourself up. And move your props, bring your leg up and stretch it all the way down. Alrighty. We've got one more here and then we're going to switch. So we're going to try to take both feet as close as we can to the body. So, and this is where a lot of people will use their blocks because this feels really vulnerable to a lot of women. And then whatever it is you want to put in front of you, maybe nothing, maybe you're going to hold your feet or your ankles. If you have the freedom to start to lean forward, your body weight will just fall to a place. You can see I don't go very far. And I like to wrap my hands around my feet just because it feels kind of like a container. And so finding your own way here and let your body just drape over your legs. And ideally, we're letting the shoulders relax and the head go, and there's nowhere to go, but the connective tissue, the fascia that holds us together, you'll feel that limitation. You'll feel that place where you're like, well, I can't go any farther. And that's those tissues that can get really kind of sticky and hard and what's the word I'm looking for? Juicy. And so this is why we stay. We put tension against these areas on purpose in a gentle way so that they start to soften like taffy. I always think of taffy or clay. When you're holding it in your hands, it gets warm and you can mold it and it's very pliable and stretchy. That's what we're doing here. And the more that we can let go and the more we can just allow the body to respond to the action, the better the process is going to be. We just come back to the breath. Come back into the present moment. We listen and hear the sensations in the body. I like to call it a feeling sense. There's a feeling sense of what's happening, and you have your own language in your body, and I have mine in my body. So we just listen, stay present. Take a nice deep breath. And then as you inhale, start to slowly bring yourself back up. Remember the transition out of the shape is always the most vulnerable. So you go slow, grab a hold of your knees, support them as they come in, and stretch your legs down. Okay. Once you feel ready, we're going to start to move towards the floor onto our bellies. So go ahead and lie down. Prop yourself up on your elbows for Sphinx pose. And now I feel a little vulnerable right here this morning. I'm not quite sure why. Normally I do this pose all the time, so it's not like it's hard, but there's something going on. So I'm gonna take this little bean bag. You could do it with a blanket if it feels the same to you, and put it right under your pelvis so that you raise the floor up just a little bit. And then that helps you feel more, or maybe not so ouchy, so sensitive. All right. The body needs to go in this backwards position because we've done all those forward folds. Remember that you can also lower yourself down by dropping your elbows out to the side and lowering your chest more. And so we're here, dropping the shoulders into the back body, letting the middle of your body up around your ribs soften. And then again, if the noise in the body, that feeling sense starts to get a little too noisy, it starts to feel like it's too much, then you gotta bail. You come down, you rest. And then at any time, if you feel like you want to, you can always make the whole thing higher by coming up into seal pose on your hands. A little bit more effort, a little bit more sense of feeling. And just noticing as you keep coming back to the present moment, you just keep coming back. I do it myself. You know, our brains are looking for information. You just come back in whatever way helps you. For me, it's the breath. Sometimes people have a mantra or a saying. The body's in communication with us, so noticing anything that's that you're feeling or sensing. Lately, I've been playing with this idea of hearing, because I've been teaching this class around wellness, and this week it's all about the brain and muscles. That's a class called Power of Muscle that I've been teaching. And in my research and in my experiences, I started to hear more and more about how important hearing is to our cognition and our brain health and our mood. And so I decided I was going to go and get my hearing tested, which I did, and it's fine. But it gave me a baseline. And then I started to pay attention to what I hear. What do I listen to? Who do I listen to? Am I really listening at all? And it became this really kind of curious exploration around honing my skill of listening to the subtlety that's around me, and also honing that skill of not listening to things that aren't going to serve me. So it's been this wonderful, I just can't, exploration is the only word I can think of. And when I think about the present moment and staying in this presence, I keep coming back to that listening. What am I listening to? What am I focusing on? Take one more breath. And then go ahead and just lower yourself down onto the mat, turn your head or let your head stay neutral, and pause here for a moment. Letting your body relax. And then as you feel ready, we're going to roll over onto the back body. And as you do that, just bend your knees, reset your pelvis, and come into a place of awareness now on your back. This is the first time we've been here, so what's happening? And to reset your pelvis, I like to pick my pelvis up and then just put it back down and then adjust my shoulders so that my shoulders feel flat against the floor, my shoulder blades, I should say. And then noticing what's present here in the body going, yay, she's finally done it. She finally laid down. From here, we're going to play with the hips again. So cross the right ankle over the left knee and pick up your left leg and see if you can hold your left thigh or left shin. Working in the area of the deep hip rotators. See if you can soften as much as you can. When we use our arms, we tend to want to pull, so notice your tendency. If you feel like that, you could maybe reach a little farther. Like I went from my thigh to my shin, and my arms now are more relaxed. You do have to keep your neck in a neutral position. And if you pull too hard, your head will go backwards and you'll come way out of neutral. So just noticing if you're doing that. In each and every moment, we can come back to the breath, come back to that present moment. Noticing what you notice. As Michael Lee says, what's happening now? And you take another breath and then you ask yourself again, what's happening now? Alrighty, take a nice deep breath. And then let go of your legs so that the left foot lands on the floor, but keep the legs. And I want you to close the right thigh over the left. So it's now thigh to thigh rather than ankle to knee. Pick your hips up and bring them over to the right. And open your arms as far as you can, like in a T, or if you can do cactus arms, do that. And then rotate your legs over to the left. Now, what I want you to do is be able to keep your right shoulder on the mat. So if you can't, put something underneath your legs, like a block or a bolster, so that you're not dangling in air. The body needs to feel that stability in order for it to let go. And if you're just hanging there, a lot of times the body will be like, no, it's too scary. I can't do it. I'm just going to hold on like crazy. And just as a reminder, if you're starting to get a pinpointed sensation that doesn't go away, maybe even gets louder, that's not usually a good thing. So back up a little. You can turn your head towards your right arm. And let your body start to slowly release as it, I like to use the language unwinds, softens, builds that resiliency.
Letting the breath just allow that deep listening, that deep awareness. And then take a nice deep breath. And then start bringing your legs back up to center. Uncross your legs. Bring your hips back to the middle. And when you do that, you'll lift your pelvis up. So there's that resetting again. And then take a moment in the middle. You might just stay quiet. You might bring your knees to your chest. Try not to pull too hard on that. It's a common action and it's not necessarily the best thing to do over and over and over again. And then when you're ready, put your feet on the floor, left ankle crosses over right knee, and then picking up your legs. Finding that place where you can hold. Might be around your thigh, might be around your shin. And it takes a minute or so to settle it in. Where's the best way? And then once you've got your position, I want you to just soften. Letting go of any expectation, anywhere to be. Just be here now in the shape you're in. Breathing. Yin yoga is a very healing practice. Healing for the cells of the body, healing for the mind, and healing for the heart. So usually we have something going on as humans. And these kinds of practices can help us on a deep level. The more we practice, the more the body gets that memory of, oh, this is a safe, healing place to be. The more we practice, the more the body remembers. I call it dropping into the space, dropping into the awareness, dropping into the ethers of energy. Take a nice deep breath. And then letting your foot land on the floor, but keep the cross in your legs. Just close the legs. And then pick your hips up and bring them over to the left and let your knees travel over to the right. Remember, your arms are open or in cactus, left shoulder on the mat. The eyes can turn towards the left. And you're pausing here. And become curious around what every little change and shape create in your body. We move around all day long and we typically don't pay attention unless something's bothering us. But while we're in this different shape on this different side, what's happening? Does the body give you the signal of, oh, I love this. It feels so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Or is there a little sort of edginess to it or even fear? Remember, riding that sweet spot is very individual. We don't want to go into that deep action of overstretching and creating too much stress on the body, because then the body won't let go. Those tissues are very smart. They're not going to let you go to places where you could injure yourself. And as we wait, you might notice that a new sensation comes up, like, oh, I didn't notice that before. Breathing down into the belly, sending that message to the vagus nerve of what we call rest and digest, that calm, relaxed nervous system. Take a nice deep breath. And then very carefully starting to bring your legs back to center. Uncross your legs and bring your hips back. Remember, that's that reset again. Taking a moment in the middle. Now, if you have anything that you could prop your hips up with, maybe a folded blanket or blocks or a bolster, I want you to do that now. And it can be really little, depends on what you want. I'm just gonna do with my block because it's sitting here. You're gonna put it underneath your pelvis. So obviously a block is a little harder than a blanket, so you choose. And I want it to support your sacrum so that you're elevated. And then roll your shoulders underneath you so your chest feels a little buoyant. Okay? I want you to take your left knee towards your chest and hold it with your left hand. You can hold it with both hands if you don't lose your shoulders. And then if it feels okay, slide your leg down so that the right leg is long and on the floor and you're holding your left thigh or left knee straight in. Okay? And so if you feel okay, you can interlace your fingers and draw your knee towards your chest. And what I do is I just let my arms relax. So the weight of my arms is actually helping the knee stay in place rather than me pulling. And the right leg is the one that I want to, giving it some love and attention on these inner groins here around the lower belly. You might feel a little vulnerable here. This is your psoas that tends to get really wrapped up and tight. And it will affect your belly digestion. So breathing down into your belly here, especially on the right side. And taking that awareness, that yin energy, that nourishing, healing energy to that right side, leg, groin, and belly. You might even feel it in your lower back. And as the left leg starts to get relaxed, it will naturally come towards your body or even a little bit open. You're not trying to take it anywhere, it's just where it's going because the tissues are relaxing. Take a nice deep breath. And then slide the right leg up so the knee is bent, your foot is on the floor, and then allow your left leg to come down. And then pause in the middle here. You might want to lift your hips up a tiny bit and reset them. Check in with your shoulders, make sure that you're not collapsed in your front body, that you feel open and spacious. And then take the right knee, give it a little bit of a pull. Remember, you can use one or two hands. And sliding the left leg down so that the leg is long. Finding your hold in your leg and then just pausing. Let the leg, the straight leg, the left leg, relax. I've been saying lately, the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, that my legs have been really kind of sore. And I did a workout and I went for a long walk and then I did another workout on Saturday and it just, I don't know, it just feels like my body's not recovering like it always does. And as I've been practicing today, I'm noticing how sensitive a lot of these shapes have been for me. And I'm getting the intuitive hit that I need a little bit more of this kind of practice. And not so much of the working out kind of practice. And it's so funny how we just don't recognize our own crazy a lot of times. That our habits and the things that we go to may or may not be serving us at any given point. And so because I teach yin and because I get to teach you this class, I get some benefits, right? I get my own knowing, staying in my own present moment, in my own awareness. It's a gift, for sure. Just continue to allow the body to soften and open and soften and open without you trying to get it anywhere. And we take one more nice deep breath. And then slide your left foot towards your bottom, bending your knee and placing it on the floor. And then allowing the right leg to come down. Pause. Having your hips slightly higher than your heart is a really nice, healthy, healing thing to do. So if it feels good to you, I would say stay here. I've got this block underneath my pelvis, so for me it feels a little bit like, yeah, I'm kind of done with the block. So I bring my hips down. Adjusting your shoulders, adjusting your body, finding a place where you feel really wonderful. And you can stay on the block or the elevation and rest here in Shavasana, or you can come down and put your legs down on the floor and completely rest all the way down. So decide whichever one you want to do. And you take that nice deep breath wherever you are, softening into this last and final shape, allowing the awareness, the listening to the present moment.
Take a longer and deeper breath. And slowly starting to stretch and move, bringing yourself back to your body, back to the moment. As you feel ready, you can bend your knees, roll to a side, slowly making your way up to sitting. Once you're seated, your hands can come to your heart center. Closing the practice with gratitude for our time together on the mat, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.